Our first port of call is to find out what the customers want in the Australian Wool Exchange at Yennora in Sydney. We sought out the opinions from a couple of leading wool buyers.
I'm Stuart Clayton. I work for Modiano Australia. We're probably one of the largest buyers of Australian wool.
I'm wool manager for Schneider Australia. We buy a wide range of type from 11 microns through to almost 40 microns, so there's not much wool in the catalogue that we don't cover.
So what's the role of a buyer when you're putting farm lots together for a mill consignment?
We take each lot as it is, we look over a clip and we decide. Our job is to ascertain the performing qualities of each line of wool and then try and buy to exact client specifications.
What are the key things you need to see?
I think it's important for growers to realise that for our processing ability, the lowest the fault or the lowest common denominator in that lot will restrict its processing value to us because of dark fibre content or remain and all sorts of things. So for us, when we buy it, if it contains some sort of fault, well then we can only buy it at that lower level.
Those faults might be from the very best fleece lines, might be backs left in a dry year, it might be mixed length, it might be a mixture of strengths within their best lines. So if they're producing a best line, they must remove the tender. All the way down to the lowest end of it. You know, their crutchings, they should remove stain. If they can make 2 lines of skirtings, they should. They're simple things, but that's their job. They produce wool. If they're wool producers, they should prepare it accordingly. They've got to tell us a story because we look at a lot of wool. We don't know every brand. And when I approach a clip, I look down the page. I like to read his story of what he's done. I like to understand what the classer has tried to achieve. That gives me the confidence then to try and go for the best lot, which is what he's tried to do. That's the whole idea of preparing the wool, of classing the wool, is to make the best wool better and then gradually down the line. I think they should brand it accordingly. I think they should lot the wool for sale in the same manner, from the very best down to the worst, and tell us a story about what they've done. Give us the confidence to go for their wool. They have to sell their product to us.
What don't you want to see in a clip?
Well, I don't want to see them cut corners. You know, they've taken 12 months to produce the wool. I think it's absolutely important that they prepare their wool in the best possible way to attract the maximum competition on every line of wool.
And what suggestions have you got in that regard?
I think it's just a matter of getting the basics right. One of the things is to actually, we're seeing at the moment a lot of these unclassed wools and unskirted fleece coming through, and really the grower is just shooting himself in the foot. They are heavily discounted, and like Modiano, we buy quite a large number of these wools, and I'm buying them on my best pieces type.
Do you have any examples of poorly prepared clips?
It was probably a month ago, there was quite a substantially large clip came through, and there was like 4 lines, 20 bales, and I worked out just roughly that the grower actually lost maybe 40 to 50,000, which is a large sum of money to save maybe a couple of grand on shed hands. It just doesn't seem to add up.
And there is a good tool in all this to help them.
Basically, they should just rely on the code of practice, use that as a guideline. That's what it's all about. It's been developed over years to maximise production, or like our processing ability of wool.
The AWEX Code of Practice was produced with buyer consultation. It should be regarded as the minimum.
Do you chase particular clips each year?
There's probably 2 different levels for our very, very best Italian weavers who do demand the best. They know the clips, and they don't want us cutting corners. And if we come across a clip that we know has done the job in the past, we know how it's prepared, we've been to the shed, we know the grower, we've spoken to the classer, it gives us the confidence to go for those clips, absolutely. That's wool, to buy wool at a very best product. The alternative is the base price. And if you're trying to produce wool for the bulk market, no, the brand is not necessary. But the finer the micron, the higher the price, the more important the name of the clip is.
What do you do if you see a clip that's poorly prepared?
Well, basically, our company, we can use most types of wool, but generally all it means is that line of wool will be downgraded into a poorer type, and as a result we'll get less money for it.
If there was one message you want to get across to growers, what would it be?
I think mainly it's just get the basics right, stick to the code of practice, and the most important thing is for a grower to get as much competition on their wool as possible. There's no point taking shortcuts and only getting 1 or 2 people bidding on your wool, because you're not going to generate the money. You really want maximum competition, and that's just a matter of getting it right.
Tim?
I think keep it simple. Fill the bales. I think that's important. Lightweight bales are costing the industry too much money. Talk to your classer, talk to your broker, tell him what you want. Tell us, the buyer, a story about what you've done. It gives us the confidence then to, as Stuart said, go for the best lots, and ultimately you want as much competition on every line of wool. Keep it simple, don't cut corners. In the shed, I believe shearers are getting quicker, but perhaps the shed staff are not keeping pace. They're trying, but I think it's the speed of the operation that may be affecting it. We can tell when a clip hasn't been prepared properly, and we price it accordingly.
And now we're going to talk to a couple of processors to find out what they want when they buy your wool.